Hello folks, you may remember that a few weeks ago I purchased a bunch of Nintendo 64 goodies off Facebook Marketplace, and one of the items in that collection was this thing. Classic Nintendo 64 controller with the classic problem of a loose and sloppy joystick. Never a fun problem to have. The controller that I already had a similar problem, and it has had its joystick replaced. Now the replacement part that I use is a Hall Effect joystick sensor that's made by Hyperkin Repair Box. And I purchased this from a UK supplier, zlabs.co.uk. Go and check them out if you're interested. For Australian buyers, they take care of including GST in your prices, and for any shipping over 120 Australian dollars, shipping is free. This was basically a one-off purchase combined with some pieces for Game Gears, so I didn't get the free shipping. I'll be sure to put the details of the expense for the parts and the shipping up the top there. But this video is essentially just a quick one to show you how to install it. It's a very simple process, so let's get straight into it, shall we? So of course the first part is getting into the box. Now, of all the cutting implements that I do have, this was the first one that came out of the drawer. This is essentially a drop-in replacement part, which you'll see once we open up the stick. And to read off the back of the box, it reads, compatible with all NUS-005 Nintendo 64 controllers. And this is exactly what we have here. It's a little tricky to see on camera, it's a little tricky to see off camera actually, but that is the controller that we have. Next step, let's get the controller open. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws on the outside that we need. That's all of the screws out. Let's crack this bad boy open. Now, if I recall correctly, and I hope I do, it's not too risky in terms of parts that can fall out if you're just a little bit careful. There are 2 screws down in here that we will need to remove as well, I believe. Okay, there we go. Now it pops open nice and easy. Our joystick unit, as I may have already mentioned, is designed to be a direct drop-in replacement for this guy here. And there are, I believe, only 3 screws that actually hold the existing joystick unit in place. So we'll remove those nice and quick. So it's the bottom one of these 2 screws here that you need to remove. Just slide the button for the Z button's trigger. I think that just... take the pad off and you can just pop it out from the clips. And then you just need to remove this cable from the controller circuit board. Here's the one we removed on the left, and the one we're replacing it with on the right. Just the reverse of that procedure to put the new one in. Slide the snap the Z button back into place. Discover that the contact pad blends in with your work mat. Okay, now we just need to put the 3 mounting screws back in. Just a little tip when you're putting screws back into plastic mounting posts, it's a good idea to actually work the screw in reverse as though you were taking it out until you feel a little click where the screw drops back into the thread that's already been cut. It can just help prolong the life of well, your gear if you just reuse the same thread that was cut when the screw originally went in. So we back it off. Of course, sometimes it can be a little tricky to feel that. I'll cut back after I finish closing up the controller because it's not a particularly involved process. See you again soon. Okay, now we have our controller fully reassembled. So let's hook up the Nintendo 64 to the lab TV and see how it goes. We've got the Nintendo 64 set up on the bench here with Super Smash Bros. Inserted. Let's power it on and see what we get. Okay. It at least detects the controller, but that was never an issue. Yeah, look, that's nice. That's behaves just like we want it to. Oh. I've never really played this before, so let's see how we go. Oh. Nope. Okay, well, I'm terrible at the game, but I don't think that's the controller's fault. We're getting the motion we expect, and the control stick is no longer sloppy. I think that's a win. I hope somebody out there found that useful, and hope that I inspired you to crack open the screwdriver, get the parts, and bring some life into your old controllers. This was a particularly easy repair to do, and I'd say that the entire operation should take you no more than 15 minutes. Remember, this took me a bit longer because I had to stop and deal with all of the recording aspects, but if you were just getting it done, 10-15 minutes easy. Well folks, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.